Sensei Emmerson, thank you that you do the interview with us. I have some questions for you. The first one is a very short one. Perhaps the answer is not.
Okay.
Sensei Emmerson, why Aikido and not Judo or Karate?
Because I wanted to do Aikido, I wanted to devote myself to something that could last an entire lifetime. Having done Judo and Karate as a young man, I found that it was very oriented towards youth, the strength of youth, the speed of youth. And I wanted something that could last into older life, as I got older I could still continue to do that. And Aikido provided me with that opportunity.
Okay. So you come here to show us your art of Aikido to Germany for a long time now. But since how many years are you coming to this region, Freiburg, Emmendingen, Denzlingen?
I would think that I've been coming here now for about 20 to 25 years. I'm not sure exactly, but it's quite some time now.
Okay. And what do you like here the most?
Well, I think it's a very nice part of Germany. I like the weather. But obviously I've made a lot of good friends here, which encouraged me and has encouraged me to come back year after year.
Okay. Sensei Emmerson, if you only had one tip on the way to become a Shodan, perhaps especially for us brown belts, what would that be?
One tip?
Yes.
Train regularly. Train regularly and practice over and over again the basics. The basics are most important, and without them, you cannot advance. So you've got to become habitual.
Okay. In your opinion, which is the technique or the things where students do have the most problems with when they're practicing Aikido?
Which technique, or which?
Which technique, or perhaps it's not a technique, perhaps.
If we're looking at all techniques require a high degree of coordination. The one that I find that students have the most difficulty with is Yonkyo, because it's so refined, it has to be so precise. And it doesn't work all of the time. That's the one technique I find that many people ignore or struggle with.
Okay. And in your opinion, which one is the most important technique, or perhaps the most important movement on the mat?
I was always brought up to think that Ikkyo of the immobilization techniques and the Rimanagi for the throwing techniques carried the basic principles of the movements of many of the other techniques. While they are not the most effective techniques, I think there's a very strong element of truth in that Ikkyo and Rimanagi are the two most important techniques. They're a good foundation on which many others are built from a movement perspective.
Okay. Did you know that students sometimes exclude beds? With which technique you open up the course? Did you do that?
Oh.
Sometimes.
I was a student once too.
Okay. Did you do it too?
I did that too. Sometimes I was right, sometimes I was wrong. You build up a rapport with an instructor and you get to know how he portrays his Aikido. And on general courses where you have such a wide range of ability, you tend to sort of start your courses and they tend to have the same format over and over again because there's such a wide range. In club level it can be entirely different because you have perhaps beginners in one class, advanced people in another class, so the delivery of the Aikido can be quite different. But I must admit, many people in this area, having been with me for 20 odd years, will probably know my idiosyncrasies.
Okay. And do you always know what you're going to work on with us before you enter the mat?
No, I never know that. I used to plan courses well in advance, but now I don't do that. I think I've got sufficient experience that my tuition can be more spontaneous. But when I do arrive on the mat, I tend to look down and see the range of ability and then start, hopefully appropriately.
Okay. So you can change where you see what the students are doing. What motivates you to do this art so devotedly for more than 50 years now?
I think the thing that keeps me going is the inspiration that I have from my instructor. He practiced Aikido almost till the day he died in his 80s. And I try to emulate that and continue his work in the belief that Aikido brings to society a positive contribution. But as his pupil, although he's been, although he's been gone now a long time, he was very inspiring for me, and those feelings and emotions are still very much alive inside me.
Okay, so you started up the journey with him, and you still go on. And what, how do you deal with setbacks on this long journey?
The setbacks, I learn from them. All mistakes, all difficult circumstances, I try to look at the positive and learn from them so that I don't make them again. We all have ups and downs in life, and I'm no exception, but I try to utilize all negative experiences in a positive way and learn from them and not to make them again and learn better.
Okay. And what do you think, what meaning can Aikido give to the next generations, especially in this short-lived and technical time?
We live in a very sort of, I think, selfish world where people care mostly about themselves and forget that they have to integrate and live lives with others. I think Aikido, because of its very nature and the manner in which we cooperate with one another, enables us to take the focus off our selfish interests and look at the welfare of others. And I think from that perspective alone, it changes the thinking of the individual to understand that there's more to life than just getting what you want, but sharing with others and caring more for their needs and their hopes rather than your own.
So if there would be one principle for both, for white and for black belts, which you would think is most important while you're doing Aikido, what would that be?
Consideration.
Okay. Can you
consideration for others.
Okay.
Care for others. Care for their welfare. Care for their thoughts. Understand them. Consideration.
Okay. And if you would have to describe Aikido with only one word, if that is possible, what would that be?
Transformation. Transformation of mind, body and soul.
Can you explain a bit? For people who've never been on the mat, never heard of Aikido?
When you come into Aikido, you learn to give and take, you learn to receive, you learn to work in cooperation and harmony with others. And that brings in time a transformation of attitude, of character. And this affects us first physically. We change physically. It can be fitness, you can lose weight, you strengthen yourself, you move a little bit faster, you learn to coordinate a little bit better. All these physical aspects come about. And then you find that the mental side is changing as well. You're starting to think different. Problems that were problems in the past are so small that you tend to let them go. So you tend to lead a more calmer, a more harmonious life. And then you start to look at the welfare and the values and the morals that really make us human and start to treasure those. So that tends to transform in ourselves as well. That for me brings a more holistic human being. So that's what I mean by transformation.
Yes, transform the whole person. What was your best moment or your best experience on the tatami?
I think I have to go back probably 30 years for the best moment. It was possibly when I took my fourth dan examination. The best moment was the acknowledgement of that grade by Master Noke, my teacher, and his pride that radiated from him for me. It was very, very humbling, and it had a very profound effect upon me.
Okay. So there are a lot of high-graded women also on the mat. Why is Aikido so interesting, especially for women?
I think because they don't have to compete with men. In many of the martial arts that I have encountered, strength, speed, size, weight, all these carry make great contributions. And this is where a woman, unfortunately, doesn't have those attributes. In Aikido, those tend not to count for too much. It's more skill-based, and it's less aggressive and less win and lose. There's a balance here between the people that practice, rather than a sort of I will win, you will lose. And I think this appeals to women rather than the competitive nature that perhaps man is more competitive than a woman.
Okay. Now my last question is, how can Aikido change the way of life? You've already spoke a little bit about it, but can you tell us a little bit more?
I think for as Aikidoka, if we are able to transform and think about the welfare of others, we can take that into our outside world in the manner in which we can treat our families, our loved ones, our work colleagues, our friends, and other relations. And I think you will have a better rapport with these people that we meet in life, and a greater understanding for them. And I think that way Aikido can do an awful lot of good in society.
So what do you think, for how much time will you do Aikido for your future?
For me?
Yes.
As long as health prevails, I will continue to do Aikido. Sometimes it's difficult, but I've been doing Aikido now for a very long time, and I hope a few more years lie ahead of me.
So we hope this too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.